Yes, this is weird. This is uncomfortable. This is unusual. Probably not the way that you thought a video was going to start because of where I am. And before you get your knots in a bunch, I am wearing shorts. I'm just not being weird. And if you don't know who I am, my name's Andrew. I'm an evangelist here in Toronto, Canada. And I have one thing on my mind: revival for this generation. This is something that's going to disqualify a lot of people from actually entering into their call. Because this is one of the areas in a hypersexualized world that cause many people to lose their calling. But that's not going to be you. Here are 5 ways how porn, masturbation, and sexual immorality impacts your relationship with God. And I filmed this here because this is the place where you're safe. This is a place of intimacy. This is a place of privacy. And doing this, nobody else sees you. This is not done out in the public. It's not done in the open. This is done in secret and in private. When you're in secret and private, there's still a God that's there with you. We serve an omnipresent God. That means He's there everywhere. Now, when you're watching porn, when you're engaging in things you're not supposed to, God is watching. He sees what you're doing. And yes, engaging in porn, engaging in masturbation does affect your relationship. You're probably thinking, oh, what's a big deal? Everybody does. I will tell you that it's a way for you to relieve stress. It's a normal practice. It's a healthy way to find out about your sexuality. But we're not called to live according to the standard of the world. We're called to live according to the standard of the Bible. What you do in private reflects what happens open. And Jesus tells us in Matthew chapter 26 that if our eyes are healthy, then our whole body is healthy. If our eyes are unhealthy, then the entire body is unhealthy. Meaning, what you watch determines the outcome that everybody else sees. Watching porn, masturbation, that hurts your relationship with God, and others see the results. God tells us that anything that is done in secret will be exposed in the light. And when it comes to porn, I get that it's everywhere, but you need to have safe measures in your life, because the most precious thing that you can have is your relationship with God. And before you say anything, yes, porn and masturbation is mentioned in the Bible. This is what Jesus said in Matthew chapter 5. He said, "Have you heard the commandments that say you must not commit adultery? But I say anyone who even looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in her heart. So if your eye, even your good eye, causes you to sin, gouge it out and throw it away. It's better for you to lose one eye than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. If your hand, even your stronger hand, causes you to sin, cut it out and throw it away. For it is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell." Now right there, Jesus is talking about not only the physical acts and what you do, but what you're watching and what you're playing with. And our bodies is a place where the Holy Spirit dwells. So that means even in our sexuality, we need to live up to Bible standards. And porn and masturbation, they're all categorized in what's called sexual immorality. Sexual immorality, the simplest definition, means sex between a husband and a wife outside of marriage. Anything other than that considered sexual immorality. And these are 5 ways that it impacts your relationship with God. First one, it causes spiritual separation between you and God. You're called to live holy. Holy means to be set apart. Set apart for what? Set apart for an exclusive use. Set apart for your call. Set apart for God to use you in this generation. Because sexual immorality is a sin, sin separates us or divides us, or builds a barrier between us and God. This causes physical and emotional harm. And you've probably experienced this, where you've had personal shame, you're in emotional distress, or it even ruins some of your relationships and how you view women, or how you even look at men. You look at people in the light, not the way that God calls us to see with love, but through the lens of sin. Number 3, it sets us up for divine judgment. This is one of the areas that God absolutely hates, and God will judge you, and there are repercussions in engaging in sexual immorality. 4th one, this one you're absolutely not gonna like, because there's actually a social and a community impact when you engage in this. Because the Bible actually tells us to separate ourselves from people who engage in these kind of activities. Oh, but what happened to the grace? Yeah, there was grace, but there's also a standard that we are to live by. There is a standard that we have to uphold when we're called Christians. And when somebody that's living a double life, that calls himself a Christian but acts out a certain way, God says, don't associate with. And lastly, this would cause you to lose your inheritance. The worst thing that can happen is for you to spend an entire eternity away from God and in hell. But in the here, it would disqualify you from being somebody who God uses to advance His kingdom. You are full of potential. You have every single tool that you need to make an impact in this generation. But engaging in porn and engaging in masturbation, engaging in sex outside of marriage, is going to disqualify you from God to use. And the crazy part is that It is in our control. Romans chapter 6, the Apostle Paul said, we have dominion over sin. So you are an overcomer. God's given you the ability, God's given you a grace, God's given you His Holy Spirit to combat this if you're struggling. So be intentful with what you do. And don't let anything disrupt your call or your purpose, or most importantly, your relationship with God. So if you care about revival, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.